Thank you. Thank you so much. Very nice to see you all here. And yeah, as you can see from the title, as you will be able to see from the title in a second. Yes. I am going to talk about creative communication for games. So in layman's terms, creative communication can also be called marketing, but I am going to show you how to approach it in a different way and how an agency, a creative agency, can actually help you launch and market your game, even if, because usually when you think about a creative agency, you think about huge budgets. And I'm going to show you a few, let's say, a few ways to do that differently. So my name is Nowak. I have already been introduced. I am a creative technology director and a gamer. There are some of my avatars from a few games that I've played over the years, but it's only the ones I spent more than 100 hours in. So I am going to be speaking to you today both as a person who works in a creative agency, but also as a person who does spend a lot of time in the worlds that I will be talking about. And this is why I will be able to show you some unique insights that also appeal to me as a gamer and probably to you as gamers as well. So if you want to market your game in a unique way, let's say that you developed a game and you want to launch it, you want to promote it in a way that would not be a standard trailer dropped on your Facebook account or your Instagram account or on Twitter. I refuse to call Twitter X, by the way, so I am going to talk about Twitter today. So how can you do it? What can you focus on if you want to talk about your game in a different way? How do you extract this unique thing that will make people remember what you showed them and actually make them want to play your game? So the first thing that it is good to focus on is a unique insight. And I will be showing some examples of unique insights. Basically what a unique insight is, it's a gateway to actually plant a seed in people's brains that, hey, I can relate to this. Hey, it's also true for me. Hey, I remember this. This plays on my nostalgia. This plays on my favorite game that I used to play as a kid. So I will show you some unique insights to give you examples of how big studios do it. I will be showing some videos that actually show entire campaigns based on unique insights. And the first one is something that you might remember. Do you remember this? Do you remember this screenshot? So how do you recover from this? People are incredibly excited. Halo is finally dropping a new trailer, and you were so excited to see it. And then this is what you see in the trailer, and I bet some of you remember what the conversation was like online. So is there a way to recover from this? I mean, by now, of course, we know there is, because the game was a huge success. But how do you change the perception of people so that, the memes that they've made actually lose relevance? And I'm going to show you an example of a campaign that was done to actually mitigate some of that negative impact. So let's take a look at the first video.
Whoa.
Yikes.
There was a Halo demo, and people were mad.
This is not looking too good.
Halo Infinite delayed.
I'll apologize to the fans.
So if someone ever tells you that games are not a work of art, you can always remind them of, well, at least this one instance where it was in fact a work of art to mitigate the damage a very bad trailer has done. And the next insight is probably something that all of you will find very relevant. Who cares about NPCs? Well, I do, because whenever I say something bad, I usually just reload my previous save so that, I can't really be angry, and I don't want my, let's say, band members to be angry at me as well. But there are people who don't really care about NPCs, and they are just kind of there in the world doing their own thing. But what if we actually promoted the game from the perspective of the NPCs? Not the ones who are in your party, because those ones you usually care about, they are like your family, like my family in Mass Effect, for example. Like, I will love them forever. But what about the NPCs that you just kind of encounter in the world? Why not launch the game by giving the voice to those NPCs and to actually showing how what is happening in the game affects them? This is exactly what Ubisoft did for Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and I'm going to show you what it was like. I remember this campaign, and I remember laughing out loud. Even though I stopped playing Assassin's Creed after Assassin's Creed 3, it really disappointed me, and I haven't come back. But still, this was a great campaign. So just take a look at the world of Assassin's Creed through the eyes of the NPCs.
Nobody cares about my performance.
You mother...
Being impaled every morning is not a job.
Yeah, that's right.
And there, look at my amphoras. He just smashed all my amphoras. A week's worth of work, blown away.
Don't look back. Oh, God, don't tell me it's her again.
What the hell is that clown doing up there? Seriously, she's going to ruin all my frescoes!
What's this again?
This is face swap.
Yo, mom is so pixelated, she looks like an indie game.
That's my mouth on your face.
It looks more like my mouth on your face.
Do you have a wife?
Of course.
And did you ever see her?
Nope.
I'm so sorry to bother you with my most intimate dream.
Hector, you don't have dreams.
It's like that 24/7.
I gotta settle my mind, kill a day at a time, living my life as an NPC. What? I gotta settle my mind, kill a day at a time, living my life as an NPC. Once upon a time, you could find and a lion I can feed. You don't see me now, but I'm a revolution in the sea. Matter of fact, you whack, you don't see me doing jack. I'ma keep up the sack while I plan this attack. Play up. You never even saw this shit coming. I'ma send your ass back to a new beginning.
Damn, you bloody players!
So I don't know about you, but for me it was the one with all the jugs that were destroyed, and this was my week's worth of work. And after that I suddenly started thinking that maybe I shouldn't just be running around destroying all the pottery that I find in games. I even started stopped doing it in Hades because I was like, maybe I shouldn't be doing it. So it is a very unique insight. But going further, one thing that I really don't like is when people say, let's market something to gamers. Okay, but what gamers? Sometimes people think that gamers are like a monolith and all the people who play games are the same. They are, you're able to reach them through the same channel. You just put them in this one group that is not really internally diverse. They are just gamers. But the truth is that it's very different depending on what kind of game you are trying to market. So how do you market a game to people who are usually tech savvy? They use ad blocks. They don't really, you can't really reach them with conventional digital marketing. They don't really spend that much time outside of their favorite games, and they have a specific affinity with several titles. So there is this game called The Division 2 that I personally really like. I spent more than 300 hours in this game, and I am proud to say it. I am not ashamed of that. I even spent money on clothes in that game. It's true. So how do you market this game to a very specific audience that could be interested in the game, maybe played the first part, played other Ubisoft games? So it's kind of in the loop. And what kind of channel could you use to market this game? If you're Ubisoft, you can use another game. So this is an idea that actually promoted The Division 2 in Ghost Recon Wildlands. Let's take a look at what it was actually like.
Cabrones. It's Juan Gomez on WMB, the sound of the road. Today we received at the studio a very strange letter with the tape inside. Check it out, amigos.
Everything had been pretty stable. Once everyone who was going to die had died at least. Even my parents. We'd all lost at least one parent. Seemed like it had been made for a different world. The museum of life we will never have.
We're the adults. We should protect them when we can.
Junie, there are mass graves 200 yards outside the window. Protect them from what?
From growing up faster than they already have.
I always wanted to be an astronaut. See space, the stars, the infinite nothing.
And now?
Now, it's about getting out of this place.
Do you think it's getting more dangerous, Vi?
And the funny fact is, the story was actually followed up in The Division 2. So if you were into the podcast, you could actually learn what happened to those people. I am not going to tell you, you have to play the game yourself. This is marketing. But one question that I wanted to ask, do you normally listen to the radio? I don't. But do you listen to the radio when you play games? I do. I listened to hours of radio when I played Cyberpunk because the world building was also happening through the radio. So for me, this was like a really ingenious use of a channel that would normally just go unnoticed. And it's true, people actually listen to the radio in games. But going forward, and we will stay with Ghost Recon Wildlands for a moment, because when you have a game like Ghost Recon Wildlands and The Division 2 coincidentally, what makes the game actually? It's the players that enter the world of the game. So if you want to find a unique way to present the world of the game, how would you do it? Of course, there could be multiple ways to show that. Just show the beautiful views, just show what we've designed and tell them that you have to protect this world. But how do you know this world if you haven't played it? So the campaign that was launched when Ghost Recon Wildlands was going to be live was a campaign that showed the world of the game, but without the players. It was actually meant to show what you need to do, what you need to get in order to save this world, because it was pretty bad out there. All those of you who have played this game probably know this, but seeing the world as it was, without any people to help, actually moved quite a few gamers. So let me show you what it was actually like.
Welcome to the world of Ghost Recon Wildlands. A game in which players have to save the population from a powerful drug cartel. But what does this world look like before the players arrive? A world with no heroes. The first website that shows a video game daily life before the arrival of gamers. Through 50 virtual cameras. To create this experience, we developed a new type of content, a documentary on a virtual world. During 3 months while the game was being developed, we explored every area of the map, inch by inch. We found the most iconic landscapes. We documented how the population acts, witnessed the characters' daily lives and rituals. But all this beauty had a dark side. The Santa Blanca drug cartel.
Viva Bolivia!
Just like reporters, we collected those moments and brought back from our journey 8 hours of footage.
No se puede chingar con el cartel.
Each camera showed the consequences of the actions of the cartel. Learn that in this country, a human life costs less than a gram of cocaine. What started out as a showcase for the impressive game engineering became something bigger. The first documentary on a virtual world. A world that needed you, the player. On the 23rd of February, more than 6.8 million gamers entered this world to fight the cartel, making Ghost Recon Wildlands the largest beta launch in Ubisoft history. Welcome to a living world, a world with no heroes.
And the next thing I want to show you is about a game that has received mixed reviews, so to speak. You probably remember all the discussions that happened around Starfield. People were saying that this game is boring. People were saying that this game is exactly as boring as it needs to be interesting. So as many people there are, that many opinions there will be. I personally enjoyed this game a lot. And when I found this thing, I realized that actually, this is going to be a pretty different example, but it's also going to play on a very unique insight, because there were many things that were criticized in Starfield. The story, the length, the emptiness sometimes, but there was one thing that was universally praised by almost everyone who played this game, and it was the character creation process. And it's true, it was an amazing thing. I was actually able to make a character that looked like 98% like me. You could have seen it on the second slide. It was pretty spot on. And there was an idea that, using the fact that this character creator is so good could actually be used for something other than just, talking about the game. But there was a way to use this game to do something good. So this is what I'm going to show you now is an idea on how to use the universally praised good thing in Starfield to actually build a much bigger narrative that not only did something good for the actual people in the actual world, but also showcased Starfield as a game in a completely different way. So watch this video and see what I'm talking about.
Starfield broke gaming records in 2023.
Today is when tens of millions of Game Pass players are going to get to play.
One of its most impressive features was character customization. So detailed, players started replicating celebrities and other characters.
People have been making some very good celebrity lookalikes in the Starfield character creator.
There are more important faces that need to become famous. So we decided to turn hype into hope. Mais de Ce, a 30-year-old institution that already found more than 6,000 missing people, went to a new place to look for them. Avatars of Hope. We use the tools the game already offers to transform portraits of missing people into playable characters in the Starfield universe. Then, we called the biggest streamers in Brazil to play those characters.
As pessoas desaparecidas eram um pouquinho mais divulgadas em alguns meios que estavam na casa de todo mundo. Por que hoje não pode estar em mais lives?
They built each character with the help of their community. Anyone who had information of their whereabouts could directly connect with Mais de Sé. And they could also help the institution with donations. We made easy guidelines so other players and streamers could also help. We shared everything on social media. Those faces got the attention of a very engaged audience during hours and hours of gameplay.
Com o projeto, a mãe, Dona Rosiane, renovou a esperança de encontrar o filho.
Foi muito bom porque não vai ajudar somente a mim, mas a muitas mães.
And a few days after the first stream, we had the best possible result.
Acharam o Jean, uma notícia muito boa, uma notícia muito fenomenal. Bem-vindo de volta, Jean.
Já pensou que legal? Eu vou fazer um boneco do The Sims. Eu vou pegar uma pessoa desaparecida ali.
The campaign was so successful, we're taking it to other games. Avatars of Hope. While some of us are exploring the universe, others just want to come home.
So as you can see, this is definitely not something the creators had in mind when they came up with how detailed the character creation was going to be in Starfield. But apparently, you can use the character creation process to replicate missing people, which means they will be visible more than they were before, which is a very important thing because, as you could see, the added exposure actually helped find someone who has been lost. So there is a way to change the narrative and to actually associate a certain title, a certain game, with doing actual good for actual people. And then another thing that I want to show you in the area of unique insights is how many times have you wondered that it would be fun to be able to find other ways for your character to level up? Because normally you level up by doing tasks in the game. It takes a lot of time, but that's part of the process. But I wondered, from time to time, how cool it would be, for example, if I were able to level up my character, actually buff my character by going to the gym. Like, where you train in your life, you gain progress in real life, and then this progress is transferred to your character in the game. So this actually happened. This happened for Assassin's Creed Valhalla. There was an entire program centered around actually helping your character level up by you leveling up at the gym. So take a look at what it looked like.
Many gamers nowadays follow the same principle. The more you play, the better your character gets.
Quero conquistar tudo que tem no jogo. Eu falo
12 horas, 18 horas de game seguido. E quando eu vejo, eu tô...
So far, so good. The thing is, you might spend more time than you expect. As many gamers became sedentary, Ubisoft decided to help. By encouraging players to go out and exercise while still progressing in one of our most popular titles, Assassin's Creed Valhalla. How? We'll reward them just as if they kept playing. They just have to go to the gym. Ubisoft presents Assassin's Creed Buff Your Main, turning your gains into your character's gains. We teamed up with gyms so that whenever a gamer trains, they'll get an item that boosts their in-game physical abilities. So they'll improve their character in-game and in real life at the same time. What started with a few streamers and tweets took the gaming community by storm and led a legion of gamers to their closest gyms, and even brought some gyms closer to gamers. Within the first month, over 25,000 upgrades were claimed. Thousands of players rebalanced their times spent at the gym and in-game, and people got hella jacked. Okay, this part's gonna take a bit longer.
And the next area we're going to go into is brand partnerships. And what exactly does it mean? Creative agencies usually work with their own big clients. It can either be supermarket chains, it can be automotive brands, it can be anything, alcohol brands, drink brands, snacks, whatever. And the cool thing is that if there is any potential for a fun and interesting partnership, a creative agency is your best bet on how to find this connection between, let's say, a big brand and a game that could cross-promote one another. And of course, when you think about brand promotion and brand partnership, I'm pretty sure that the first thing that comes to mind, at least for me, is Fortnite. I mean, you can have your own opinions about Fortnite. I personally don't really enjoy playing this game, but I'm not going to deny the fact that it's like a worldwide success and that there haven't been that many partnerships anywhere. Well, maybe on Roblox and Minecraft, but it's basically the same model. You probably see many brands showing up in Fortnite, showing up in Minecraft, showing up in Roblox. You see brands there and you see other titles there. I mean, you know, characters from other games also appear in Fortnite. A tiny remark from my end, I think that, you know, when they were trying to sell us metaverse, I mean, not the Facebook or the meta version, but the version where people actually spend time together in the virtual world, I think Fortnite is the closest to that because it's like an entire collection of different worlds united into one. It's the only place where you can go to an exhibition dedicated to Martin Luther King dressed as Pickle Rick. I mean, you can do it in real life, but it will probably be frowned upon, so I don't recommend it. But the thing is that there's no bigger example for brand partnerships than Fortnite, and it even collaborates with other pop culture brands, for example, Dragon Ball. Yeah, you get the idea. So these are the numbers this partnership did. And for me, it is kind of surreal to see the cartoon that I watched when I was a kid, like when I was 12 or something, suddenly show up in a huge game like that. Still, unfortunately for me, it's not something that made me play it, but it's something that makes me follow it with interest. But what I want to bring your attention to is something very unique that happened on the game market, and something that I assume all of you have seen and followed, at least for a little bit. An incredible phenomenon that happened right at the beginning of the pandemic, and this phenomenon was Animal Crossing. Animal Crossing, for those of you who don't know this game, I have to do this, I am sorry, is a game that is basically a life simulation, cozy game that allows you to create and maintain your own island where your friends can visit, where you can make it pretty, where you can make it cute. But the thing is that very soon after the launch of the game, brands started showing up and building their own islands in the game. And a very weird thing happened because for the first time it was actually documented that this game, that was incredibly popular by the way and still is, let me give you the numbers because I checked them today. The Witcher 3 in March of last year has sold more than 50 million copies altogether. And Animal Crossing New Horizons, which is only available on one console, and that is the Nintendo Switch, has sold 46 million units. So as you can see, it's getting there, it's getting close to The Witcher 3. And it's only one platform. And the thing is that it was the first documented example of brands using the game to actually promote the game and promote the brands. It was very good cross-promotion. Because, as you probably remember, everyone wanted to be there. Gucci wanted to be there, wanted to have their own line of clothes, because this was also something you could have done in Animal Crossing. You could have had your own line of clothes. IKEA had like an entire catalog of furniture that was inspired by Animal Crossing. And people were like, what is this cute game? I've never seen it before, I want it. And they would actually buy the Nintendo Switch only to play Animal Crossing because they saw it being cute in an ad of a brand they like. So it was incredibly interesting to follow this exchange of, brand powering the game and game powering the brands. And there are many examples of not official brand partnerships, because Nintendo wasn't officially partnering with anyone. They just allowed everyone to create whatever they wanted on their islands, of course, in the, general set of rules, safety rules around visiting other people's islands. There were museums that would actually record museum tours in the Animal Crossing museum and narrate it in a way they would their own museum, because it was the pandemic, so nobody could get out. And the one example that I will show you is one of my favorites of how brands actually used Animal Crossing not only to promote their brand, but also, once again, to do something good. But this is, and I can't stress this enough, I think one-of-a-kind example of how this worked both ways. So take a look. So this is, on one hand, a partnership, but on another, a unique insight, something that we also talked about in the first part, where you know the mechanics of the game well enough because you know that there are turnips that are sort of a stock market in Animal Crossing, and if you don't sell them, they go bad in a week. So how you can use these mechanics to do something, to build a narrative. And this was an idea actually developed by one of the agencies. So let's do it in a way that if you bring us your spoiled turnips, you will be able to actually help someone who needs an actual meal. And this campaign was incredibly successful, and it was actually repeated during Christmas, and then after 1 year it was repeated again, and I hope it will be repeated until Animal Crossing New Horizons is live, hopefully forever. And the third option that we're going to talk about today, the third important aspect that can bring your game to new heights when it comes to launch and marketing, is to combine the world of the game with the actual world. To find a way to not talk about your game as it was just a game, but maybe bring it closer to people who will be playing it in a way that would be interesting, in a way that would be unique. So I am pretty sure that, as in every country, there is, I don't really know about this, but let me know if I'm right. I'm pretty sure that you guys have a TV show that is narrated by someone with a very calm voice, a person who talks about nature, who talks about the fauna and flora of the world, and you watch it every weekend, or you watched it when you were a kid. Is there such a thing here? Of course, it is like that everywhere. So this is on one hand, it's a very local thing because this was launched on the Romanian market, but it is also very relevant to to Poland, for example, because we also had that and we still do, and there is this one voice, and I swear, if I ever hear that voice in a game, I am going to lose my marbles. I'm going to be incredibly happy. But this idea was actually meant to bring the world of a certain game, you will see what game in a second, closer to the players, so that they would be interested not only in the game itself, I mean the mechanics, how you play it, the main character, but also the world that was created for this game. You know, there is this movie, Avatar. I don't know if you've heard of it. Like, it's not really that popular, but people say that it has an incredibly rich and interesting world. The fauna and flora of the planet Pandora is so interesting that there have been books and, I don't know, probably books only, albums that showcase how this world actually works, what is there. So why not do something similar to explore the world of a game that is very unique and the world that is very interesting. So let's see what happened on the Romanian market for the launch of Horizon Zero Dawn.
In 2022, PlayStation unveiled Horizon Forbidden West.
Forbidden West.
A post-apocalyptic, open-world game with stunning visuals of an unforgiving nature, tribal cultures, and awe-inspiring machines. A world so rich that it deserved its own documentary. But long before Romanians had the Discovery Channel, National Geographic, or David Attenborough's life, they had something far more beloved. Teleencyclopedia, the still-running weekly documentary show that since 1965 has introduced generations of Romanians to the far reaches of the world and its wonders. So we spent hundreds of hours exploring and documenting every magnificent corner of Horizon's world to create the 4-part series, Teleencyclopedia Horizon Forbidden West, the perfect partnership mashup with the show's original soundtrack and unique storytelling style narrated by the iconic Teleencyclopedia voice Romanians all know and love.
În acest teritoriu plin de creaturi ciudate, regăsim cele mai emblematice specii aparținând regnului animal.
Media featured the launch of the series and kept covering its following episodes. Gaming websites embedded the show in their own platforms, while streamers, influencers, and journalists all weighed in.
PlayStation a luat formatul teleenciclopediei pentru a descrie universul unui joc, Horizon Forbidden West.
It became one of Teleencyclopedia's most watched episodes ever. While brands are all trying to get into games, we brought a game out to the real world by portraying it exactly as we portray the wonders of our own world, all while tapping deeply into local culture.
And the next thing I'm going to show you, how many times have you heard the phrase, video games don't teach you anything? Like, you can play the games all you want. It's not going to give you any useful life skills. I've heard it like hundreds of times from my parents. I still hear it to this day. Well, I guess I have to live with it. But this is an example. You know, someone finally sat down and said, okay, I am going to prove that by playing video games, you can actually learn an actual important skill that can not only land you a job, but that can bring you success. So if someone ever tells you that again, now you have an argument to tell them that they are very, very wrong. So let me show you how it happened.
Webster for Bromley scores! A Football League club for the first time in their 132-year history.
They're way ahead of us in size of club, in finance and everything else.
Football Manager is the most realistic football simulator in gaming. You don't control the players, you manage the team.
I'm going to speak to the manager of Bromley FC who wants to hire a gamer to join his backroom staff.
Today, we're looking for Bobby's next tactician, and it could be you.
This is why I've been playing this game for like the past 20 years.
Cherche son nouvel entraîneur sur Football Manager.
It's like Moneyball, but with gamers.
Videojuego Football Manager 2024.
This is a real job.
I gave myself about a 5% chance. Now, recently found out I got the job.
I can already feel he wants to impress. I need to then just make sure he realises that, you know, this is a real-time, real job that we're doing.
In terms of what I kind of learned from Football Manager and what I've brought into the job is analysing all of the data points. It's effectively footballing chess. It's how you would manoeuvre the players on the pitch to get as much advantage as possible.
It's a low cross in towards Michael Cheek. Great opportunity, and it's into the back of the net. It's a hat-trick.
The impact of the business has been fantastic, just incredible numbers.
This must be an absolute dream come true for you, is that fair to say?
Yeah, it's more than a dream, it's a fair few multiple dreams come true, really.
Well done, lads. Get in there.
So yeah, I mean, this guy actually helped this club win for the first time in what, 123 years, if I remember correctly from the beginning of the case video. So yeah, if anyone ever tells you that games don't prepare you for a real job, you can always tell them about the Everyday Tactician. By the way, I really recommend watching the documentary. It's really interesting, especially from a gamer perspective. Like, the guy actually talks about how he applied his skills, what he learned in the game, what he kept in mind, and how he actually worked with the team. And it's incredibly interesting. And the next video that I'm going to show you is the last one. I am sorry, after that there is one more campaign I will talk about, but this one actually also comes from a unique insight. So as you can see, the unique insight is everywhere in every single one of these ideas. But it is a great example on how to bring together the real world and the gaming world. So as you know, there are people who actually go out to war to document it with pictures, to document it with photography, to document it with videos. But it is impossible to do this for World War II, for example, because it already happened. But what if there was a way to do this? What if there was a way to actually have someone photograph and narrate the way World War II was playing out? How do you do this? I mean, the answer is simple. You do it in a game that is set in World War II. And this campaign that I'm going to show you actually gave the option to real photographers, people who make their living documenting the proceeds of different wars in different countries. It gave them an opportunity to go back to World War II to actually take photographs as they would if the World War II was happening now. So let's see how it happened and what kind of technology was used to actually make this true.
In all the years that I've been covering conflict zones, I was in Afghanistan, Syria, and Iraq.
The first time I was at Lebanon in a city called Tripoli, I moved to Jordan. That was super shocking to me.
To show how real the new Call of Duty Vanguard looks, we invited real war photographers to experience and document World War II inside the game.
So we've created a virtual camera. It's like a portal into the game engine. As the photographer roams through this room, they are navigating through the environment at the same time.
Do you have a 50 mil I can use?
And we've designed the room also to have sound and light that matches the effects in the game, as if they were a photographer there in the period.
As a result, the journalists captured photographs of real soldiers, real places, and real battles during World War II in a game. But they didn't stay there. photo was auctioned, and the proceeds were donated to the Call of Duty Endowment Fund, helping veterans of war.
It was really fascinating to be part of a type of battle that I've never been.
So as you can see, using the game engine, you can even make something impossible actually happen. And the last thing I want to talk about is an example of a campaign that doesn't have a video that I could show you, but that was also beloved by fans. And it is also something that I remember very correctly because I participated in it very actively. And it was an activity planned for the launch of Dead Space 2. I don't know how many of you remember the launch of Dead Space 2, but I remember I was there. It's also, well, like Dead Space is one of my favorite games of all time. So when I heard there was something planned for the fans for the launch of Dead Space 2, I was there like waiting on Twitter for them to drop what it's actually going to be. And there was an interactive storytelling kind of game happening online that would drop you some hints that you had to solve in order to see. I think the QR code still works, by the way, so if you want to try it out, maybe you can try it out. But it actually had to pull a huge community of people who worked on it together on Reddit and finally be able to discover that it was a link to a YouTube video that would show footage, from inside of the Ishimura. At this point, people didn't know if Ishimura was going to appear in the second game. We didn't really know anything at all about what was going to happen in Dead Space 2. So this was a huge thing. I remember people going crazy about it and sitting there with all those people on Reddit, just, trying to decipher everything and trying to, they dropped another hint of information on Twitter. Come on, guys, we have to do it. We have to know what's going on. So what is actually important about this is that when you market a game, you have to know the power of your community. If you are marketing a second game in a franchise that already has an established fan base, you are mostly speaking to this community. You are not trying to bring all the people from around the world who will maybe want to try this game, because this is your core audience for what you are planning to do. And this is why this worked so well. It was incredibly popular. And I remember at that time being really, really invested, and not just me, but an entire community of people who were very eagerly waiting for Dead Space 2. So the key takeaways that I want you guys to end with after today's presentation, how a creative agency can help you with marketing a game. First of all, unique insight, something that has been a recurring theme in all the things that you were able to see today. Reach your target group, so know what your target group is. You are not speaking to all gamers. It's impossible to speak to all gamers. You have to find a niche of gamers that you will be speaking to. Brand partnerships with big clients, with big titles, with big names. And community engagement, because it's important to know how the power of the community can make or break your game. I mean, I assume that most of the people here know how the power of the community helped develop games such as Stardew Valley, for example. So don't underestimate the power of the community. And there is much more, but there's only enough time we have today to talk about it. So thank you very much. If you want to talk to me and find me on LinkedIn, this is the QR code to scan. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.